Hi you guys, I wanted to share some information and a testimony about one of my favorite emotional support oils, Surrender. Now, I have an interesting relationship with my Surrender oil because it's funny, it was one of the first oils that I bought after my premium starter kit just because I was drawn to it. I was drawn to the oils that were in the blend. I thought it sounded like it would smell nice, so I went ahead and ordered it. So right away I was drawn to this oil and I used it. Didn't even know what I was using it for. I just liked the sound of it, liked what I thought it was gonna do, and I used it, I wore it, I used it in my diffuser, I really enjoyed it, and then I used it up before I even realized that it really, in fact, was something that I needed really bad. It's important to understand that anytime we're talking about emotional support with our essential oils, that, you know, a lot of times we will have a physical feeling, you know, a manifestation of something, a physical symptom, and sometimes we think that that's just all it is. And we don't realize that our emotional stuff really can get stuck in our cells, like at a cellular level, and it can get stuck in different parts of our body and cause a physical symptom when really it's an emotional issue. Ton of information on that in this book called A More Excellent Way to Be in Health. This isn't even a book about oils per se, but it's a book about physical manifestations of emotional issues. So just to know, you know, that's kind of just a simple explanation of, yes, our emotional stuff can get stuck and cause physical symptoms. That could be something digestive. That could be pain in your pinky toe. I mean, I don't know what you've got going on physically, but just know that it could be something emotional, not just something physical. For me, I had years and years and years of tension in usually either side of my neck, and it would make it really hard sometimes and painful for me to turn my head. And again, I just thought that was a physical thing. I had been to my chiropractor multiple times over the years. That helped, but it always seemed to come back. And when I started learning more about oils and digging into some of these great books, which I do recommend, but they're not completely necessary. I mean, you can enjoy your oils without all the textbooks. But this little book called Heal Your Body by Louise Hay was really helpful. It has a few awesome pages in the back, one of which is this little chart of effects of spinal misalignments. And for me personally, I was looking for what was going on with my neck. And it gives you all of the vertebrae connections. And when I go down to vertebrae C6, that's where your nerves connect with neck muscles, shoulders, and one of the effects could be stiff neck, pain in your arms, different things that are connected respiratory. But for me, that really rang a bell because that's the issue that I had going on. Again, this book doesn't give you oils per se, but if you flip forward to where it gives some more information about each vertebrae connection, for vertebrae C6, a possible emotional link could be burdens, overload, trying to fix others, resistance, and inflexibility. And that really just resonated with me with some emotional stuff that I had going on. Carrying too many burdens. And it's kind of like, you know, that metaphor of carrying the world on your shoulders, and I knew I was doing that. I know sometimes I'm resistant to change. I know sometimes I can be inflexible and literally stiff-necked. And so that really kind of resonated with me, and I knew this was something I needed to dig deeper into. This book also gives you like an affirmation. They call it a new thought pattern. And for that vertebrae connection and emotional issue, it goes like this. I lovingly release others to their own lessons. I lovingly care for myself. I move with ease through life. And so it really is an affirmation of being more flexible, not trying to control situations or control other people or my kids, or you know where I'm going. So I knew this was something I needed to work on. But at this point, I still needed to know what oil might I use for this kind of emotional support. that's when I went to, they call it the Blue Book, and it's Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils by Carolyn Main. So this is the book that links all of the oils in what you might want to use. So I had to look up the emotional issue that I was dealing with. And sometimes you need to get a little bit creative with vocabulary. I couldn't find anything listed as inflexible or controlling, but I did find where it said an emotional was an emotion of resistance or fear of movement. The opposite of that is openness. The affirmation, they call it the way out, is I welcome change. And again, that kind of connects to the other book where it was saying like inflexible, controlling, unwilling to change, kind of causing that stiffness in my neck. And so the affirmation was I welcome change, and guess what the oil is for that? It lists the oil of surrender, and it even tells you where to put the oil. And so for this oil, for this emotion, you put the oil right across your forehead. And interestingly enough, at one point I was having some discomfort in this part of my head. Again, I wasn't sure if that was linked to tension in my neck or, wasn't sure what was going on. But once I kind of dug into this, it all kind of made sense because it was all connected with the physical symptom along with the emotion. So I put the surrender across my forehead and I said the affirmation, just, I welcome change. I welcome change. And I could do that multiple times. I could do that as many times as I want. But what I have to tell you is a handful of months ago when this happened the first time, when I had this experience, my tension in my neck went away completely for 10 months. I would still be driving my car and look over my shoulder to change lanes and actually think like, oh my gosh, I could turn my head because it was that uncomfortable for such a long period of time. That kind of tension crept in again just a couple months ago, like probably like holiday stuff going on, taking on those burdens again, getting kind of stuck in some of that emotional stuff that was inflexible. And I came back to my surrender oil. I came back to, it's called the alarm point, and my affirmation, I welcome change, with my surrender oil. And I even sometimes will make up my own affirmations to go with that. You totally can. I welcome change, I'm flexible, I'm not controlling, whatever you need to tell yourself. Give yourself your own prayers and affirmations, because we know when you speak good things with your oils, it raises the frequency 10 megahertz. When you pray with your oils, it raises them 15 megahertz for the frequency of your oil. So pray with your oils, it makes them that much more powerful. But I had to share with you my experience with surrender oil and how it completely changed a physical thing I had going on, because it wasn't a physical thing, it really was an emotional thing. So feel free to comment or connect with me. I love to talk about oils, and I'd love to, share resources, but surrender oil and emotional support. So have a great day.